Good evening, chat. How's it going? I hope you had a wonderful weekend because tomorrow is Monday. I really hated Mondays when I used to have a schedule. As a streamer, you get to set your own hours. But when I did have a schedule, my goodness, it was absolutely horrible. Friday was a blessing. Sunday was harder. But hopefully I'll be able to entertain you so that you can go to work in a very jolly mood tomorrow. I will entertain you with the fact that you don't happen to live in Britain. A lot of people don't appreciate life the way they should. We take a lot of things for granted. And so a lot of people don't appreciate every day when they wake up to thank Jesus that you are not in Britain. Like, thank you, Jesus, for allowing me to be born in this wonderful country far away from the British politician. Right? Like, the British politician cannot exploit you because you're not in Britain. And so you have one up on them. But the ones that live in Britain, well, unfortunately, what are you doing on the internet? Like, you're dangerously close to committing a crime. The British government is terrified about its own citizens using a keyboard. And so harsh rules and regulations and draconic crackdowns need to happen to prevent the people from communicating with each other. The government doesn't like that because they probably saw what happened to the Conservative Party. And they probably tell stories around the campfire. And they're like, did you see what happened with Bob? Like, what happened with Bob? Well, he had a nice job in the government. He was earning a lot of cash on the taxpayer dime. Was going to work, rubber stamping things. Everything was fine. And then one day the people voted him out. And you can hear the gasps of horror around the Labour campfire. Like, how could this happen? How could he have lost his seat? Like, he was always there. Like, he had the seat. He was a politician. He had... Yes, but the people voted him out. And like, you can see the shock, the horror on the faces. And it's like, okay, well, we need to prevent that from happening. We need to make sure that people never criticize us ever again. And we get to hide this criticism under hate speech laws and other type of rules. But we need to make sure that the people do not communicate with each other. Because when they communicate with each other, unfortunately, every now and then they get ideas. Dangerous ideas like voting politicians out of office. And so I was looking at the Romanian press, and I'm going to have this video on my main channel today because it is, as the Romanian press describes it, shocking, right? Like, that's what they say. The video is shocking with something that's happening in Britain. Give me 1 second so I can... give this message to a lot of Americans. So again, like, your task on Thanksgiving is to be thankful that you're not born in Britain, because could be horrible. Gabriel Narta, it's work fee. Nobody goes there willingly. That's why they have to pay you to do it. And it's true, like, for a lot of us Eastern Europeans, to travel to Britain, you travel to work, and so, like, you have to do it because you're getting paid. But, like, no one wants to be there without payment, without remuneration. Let me just show you the news article first. Again, when I say that Britain is the clown car of international politics, people think that I'm exaggerating. People think, like, V, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, no, like, look here, you bigot. This is a Romanian newspaper, and as you can see here, the red logo with the Clown News Network, right? Like, can you see it? CNN, right? It's a mainstream media Romanian outlet that's CNN affiliated. So I just want you to see what we're talking in the Romanian press. Now, when you're talking about international relations, very rarely do you get an event from another country that's shocking. Like, it has to be so shocking that it gets featured, right? Because, like, usually the Romanian press focuses on Romanian news, and it doesn't have, like, a lot of space for international affairs. Like, in international affairs, you talk about, you know, the war in Ukraine, you talk about other things that influence Romania, but, like, individual cases in Britain, they have to be so shocking that they're featured because they will think, like, the people who write the article think, okay, like, the Romanians will look at this and they will show interest in the news. So what is shocking? Again, like, this is how it's being described by the CNN affiliate, right? Like, this is the Romanian word for shocking. Shocking in Britain. The parents of a young girl were arrested after they complained on WhatsApp about their teacher. Like, I just want you to internalize, right? Like, again, every day you need to be thankful that you're as far away from British politicians as possible because you're born in another nation. So just so you can understand, right? Like, because the parents of a girl complained about her school and the teachers, they got a visit from the police. Now let's see how this visit looks like, because we got the video image, we got the footage, of the happening, and the footage of the happening looks like this. How many can we count? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4. So hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 officers. My goodness. My goodness gracious. 6 officers for 2 parents that communicated on WhatsApp. I mean, I guess it's required, right? Because what if they would have communicated again? Like, they were such a danger to society. Well, I mean, look. What if they would have had a phone in their hand? Like, you're sending one officer, okay? Like, imagine this. You're sending one officer, and the parents, with a phone in their hand, they would tweet something vile and show it to the officer. Like, the officer could faint, and then because you only sent one officer, there's no one else to cover him. Like they're doing such high amounts of psychic damage that you need 6 officers. All jokes aside, though, do British people not have phone lines where you can just call a person and ask them to come to the station? Like, you're under investigation, sir. We got some questions regarding posts made on WhatsApp. Yeah, very dangerous. It upsets the Liberal Party. Yeah, the Lib Dems don't like it. Yeah. Can you come to the station? Like, you need to lawyer up. Yeah, you're under investigation. Yeah, don't try to fucking around. We'll get you. Can you come? Can they not do this anymore? Like, do they need to show an overwhelming display of force for every single neighbor to see? Like, no, seriously, like, picture this, right? In your country, which I assume is not Britain. If you see your neighbor being visited by 6 police officers, like, what would you think? Like, you would think that they're into some criminal organization. They're doing drugs, right? Like, it destroys a person's public image. Hi, V. Hope all is well. That video was wild. It is fucking wild, isn't it? Like, again, American outlier. You need to tell your family members, right? Like, tell other black people in the United States that no matter how bad things are, not like even throughout the worst times in the United States, your people should still be grateful because they weren't in Britain. Like, your family should be thankful every single fucking day because they're not in Britain and they managed to get into the United States. I'm just saying, you know, no matter how bad the neighborhoods look like, like, it doesn't matter what happens, it's still not Britain. Solon, dear Lord, I want to thank you. Glad I live in the third world and nowhere near the Sargonian hellscape of the yokai, and I don't need a license to watch Romanian cartoon troll. Amen. See, he's got the right mindset. Now the story doesn't end here. Like, it gets even more interesting, right? So again, the parents of a young girl got a visit from 6 police officers over messages they sent to WhatsApp. Now, I really tried to figure out what the fuck those messages were. I mean, maybe, you know, they're like the King in Yellow in Lovecraft. And they wrote something of such eldritch horrors that the people who read the text that they wrote go absolutely insane, right? So like they were a danger to society and they had to be stopped before they can write another manuscript. I don't fucking know. But what I do know is that it must have been so fucking bad that there is absolutely no mentioning of the message anywhere. And I did look. I looked on The Independent. I looked on The Guardian. I looked on social media. I couldn't find what exactly could they have possibly say in order to warrant this response. But apparently, whatever they have said, it's not enough because the police dropped the investigation since there's not enough evidence. So they had to stay 8 hours in a jail cell, treated like criminals. Their neighbors got to see not one, not two, not three, not four, not five, but 6 police officers coming to their door. And then it's like, oh, well, sorry, you're free to go. Yeah. Yeah, you're free to go. Go pay your BBC license. Go pay your BBC license. Come on, go. Go. Don't forget to vote Liberal. Don't forget to vote Labour. Don't forget to vote Labour and pay your BBC license. You're free to go. If Romania doesn't deploy a mechanized infantry company to confront V over his racism, is Romania really upholding its EU obligations? Well, to be fair, Britain is not in the European Union. Like, Britain went wild. Britain went rogue. I can't say that this is the EU anymore. No. The European Union would never. They would never do such a thing. We're civilized. We're like a walled-off garden. We're good and decent folk. We would never. This is Britain. This is their country. That's what they're doing over there. They're not doing this over here. No one is doing this over here. No one is doing it. To be fair, though, and I'm actually being fair, I don't see this happening in Germany. I don't see this happening in France. Like, I'm not saying that things like this don't happen for other reasons. Like in Germany, there have been, public speakers and famous authors and stuff that get a visit from the police. Like, yes. But for criticizing your school on WhatsApp to send you 6 police officers at your door, no. No, like that is not something that I can see happening in Germany. That is not something I can see happening in France. At least not in 2025, right? Like when I'm making this video, if you're watching this from the future and it has happened, well, maybe things have changed. Different context. But in the current international context, like today, I don't see people getting a visit from 6 police officers because they trash talked their teachers from their kids' school. Right? Like, that's just my opinion. If your opinion is different, it's fine. Like one day, maybe you can show me that I'm wrong. Maybe like, V, it happened. But still, I'm just saying that at least today, I don't see it happening. It's not happening in the EU. Like, Britain is a special case. You know when I would probably see it? Like, if I struggle really hard, I could see it in Australia. I could potentially see it in Australia, yes. Like, I could imagine a case where someone from Australia complained about the government that they got a visit from the cops. It's kind of like, I'm not saying that it would never, listen, I don't think I'm expressing myself in a way that people can understand. You can get a visit from the cops in Germany if you call like a German politician fat. Okay? Like they don't have free speech over there either. But there are there's like different flavors of censorship. There's other things you're allowed to criticize. Like, for instance, in Germany, you can criticize school teachers, right? Like, the school teacher is not a sacred cow in Germany. That's what I'm trying to say, right? Like, the school teacher being a sacred cow is predominantly a British thing. Like, you're not allowed to criticize the school curriculum. You're not allowed to say anything negatively about school teachers. The concept of private education, sorry, not private education, homeschooling. The concept of homeschooling. I'm actually curious what the British law says on that. A lot of European places do not allow homeschooling, right? So that's what I wanted to say. Like, I wouldn't be seeing a person getting in trouble in Britain over, in Germany or France over comments they had on the school teacher. Like, that's unthinkable. It's like, dude, every single, and here's the thing, right? I don't know how British people are like. Like, maybe they don't have childhoods. Maybe they're like born as adults. Like, the moment you're born, you're already 18, so you never experienced childhood. But I, as a person that did experience a childhood, and I do remember it, I remember when I was in school, in every single class, in every single school, I had at least 5 or 6 parents that were dissatisfied over the way that the teacher presents themselves, over the way that the teacher teaches, like various things, right? In every school, you had like one parent that just fucking hated the teacher. For whatever reason, like, it's normal, right? Like, statistically speaking, when you look at masses of people, that you will find the percentage that are dissatisfied with the teacher. And there were students that were dissatisfied with the teacher, and on the other hand, you have people that are happy with the teacher, right? But apparently not. Apparently you're not allowed to be dissatisfied. Apparently the teacher is God. My take on this whole issue is that people are incredibly emotional when it's about their children. And this is not a left-wing or a right-wing thing. This is a human being thing. Like, when it comes to your kids, people are extremely emotional. And so if you have a system where for 8 hours, 5 days a week, you give your kids to a stranger, yeah, people are going to be emotional about it. And they're going to be very concerned on what that stranger teaches their kids. And they have a right, because at the end of the day, it's their children. It's not the stranger children. The problem is that you have the leftist mindset, which has Marxist roots, which believes that children should be equalized, right? Like, Marxism is about equality. And so, like, the concept is that children should be equalized, that it's not fair that some kids belong to rich parents and some kids belong to poor parents, because it doesn't create equality. And so the solution is for the kids to be owned by the state. And so the role of the teacher is like a second parent. I'm not kidding, like, this is the leftist ideology, right? Like, this is the woke ideology. The role of the teacher is that of a second parent. That's what they say, but what they really mean is that the role of the teacher is actually the role of the parent, and the role of the parent is to be in support of the teacher, right? Like, they're basically saying that the kids don't belong to you, they belong to the state. And so the state is the one that injects morality into children, that educates the kids into the correct way of thinking, and that the parents should only be supportive in this process, right? This is how you get queer theory and how you get left-leaning parties. I mean, the Green Party in Germany recently apologized for their statements of wanting to, of being pro-pedophilia and stuff. Like, the way you reach that point ideologically is through the Marxist lens. Is through thinking that children are being oppressed by their parents and they can be liberated by the teacher, right? Like, I'm not kidding. Like, this is academic paper. This is genuinely, like, academic rhetoric. And so if you have that way of thinking, then yes, like, the teacher becomes something sacred, something that's divine, if you will, something that's above morality, because morality comes from them. And so criticizing the teacher means criticizing the state, means criticizing the politician, and that's why the crackdown needs to happen. Oh, you guys don't know? Hold on, I'll show you. I'll show you the article. Green Party Germany apologizes pedophilia. So this is from 2014. This is from the mainstream media. Look at this. A major German political party used to support pedophilia, and it's coming back to hound them. It's not every day that a major European political party has to apologize for having supported pedophilia. Again, like, this is not like slander, right? This is not an accusation. Like, this is historical. This legitimately happened. 2 weeks ago, the German Green Party had to apologize. For the past year and a half, investigators commissioned by the party have been probing its past associations with pre-pedophilia groups And the report has been shocking, as many Germans found that the German pedosexual movement, which advocated for the legalization of consensual sex between adults and children, found a surprisingly warm reception in the Green Party back in the 1980s. At a news conference in November 12, and one of the current heads of the Green Party told reporters that she is deeply sorry for her party's past stance and apologized once again to all the victims of sexual abuse that might feel trivialized. The scandal has prompted widespread debate in German media, both about the culpability of the Greens and the country's treatment of pedos over the past several decades. Germany has acquired a well-deserved reputation for open-mindedness when it comes to sex. Now, the Greens' revelation has spurred a crisis on the German left and shown that the country's sexual tolerance comes with a historical baggage on its own. The current scandal dates back to the last year of federal elections, when a German researcher revealed that one of the party leaders, Jürgen Trittin, had signed off a 1981 local party platform arguing that sex between adults and children in some cases can be legal. Trittin quickly acknowledged that he had made a mistake, blaming it on an oversight, but conscriptive political opponents were quick to describe the Greens' action as repulsive. This came to the heels of other revelations, which had prompted the report in the first place, that another senior Green Party figure had once written about flirtations with children while working at the kindergarten. Largely as a result, the party only received a disappointing 8.4% of the popular vote. Although it is little remembered these days, the move to legalize pedophilia in 1980 went far beyond Germany. In the United States, the Childhood Sensuality Circle, called NAMBLA, advocated with little success for the legalization, and other countries, including the Netherlands, Canada, and the UK, had similar movements, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now when people read this, right, like, they usually have, like, the emotional, gut-wrenching reaction of getting angry, which is nice and it's desirable, but another interesting thing is to understand how people rationalize this. Like, how do you get to this point, right? Like what is that? And if you look at Marxist theory, I explained it, right? Like, Marxism is about equality, right? Like, bringing equality to everyone. And so they believe that children and adults should be equal. And if they should be equal, because the children do not have the same rights as adults, then they're oppressed. And so, like, the government needs to liberate them. Like, this is Marxist rhetoric, right? Now, it's not what Karl Marx has said, but it's what other thinkers reading Karl Marx reinterpreted and made their own writings, their own academic papers, in order to justify this. And this is how you end up with these movements. In most countries, they're not successful, but, well, in other countries, it does seem to have some form of moderate success, at least periodically, and then after 20 years or so, the party that pushed for them starts apologizing. Check Discord and read page 6. Hold on, I need to check Discord and read a page. The role of the teacher's efficacy in readiness to support LGBTQ students. Page 6. All right, let's look at page 6. This is an academic paper that academic agent has also read on his stream, I think. I think I saw it on his stream the first time. Report the incidents to school staff. The most common reasons cited were doubts that effective intervention would occur and fears that reporting would only serve to make the situation far worse for the student. When students did choose to report the incident to school staff, 2 in 10 students were told to change their own behavior. In other words, to not act so gay or to dress in a certain way. Just over a quarter reported that the problem was effectively addressed. Furthermore, there is often a disconnect in the perception of LGBT bullying among LGBT students versus school professionals. Discrimination. While harassment often occurs on the interpersonal level, discriminatory practices and policies can disparately affect LGBT students' lives in schools. Approximately 6 in 10 students survey indicated that they had experienced LGBT discrimination in schools for being disciplined, blah, 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 blah. Okay, I want to talk a little bit about the LGBT thing, because like that's really fascinating. A lot of schools, especially in the UK, were teaching the idea that if a kid comes out as trans, you should hide it from the parents. In fact, there were teachers on Reddit talking about the fact that they should crack an egg. Cracking an egg is like if a teacher thought that the kid may be trans, like maybe you have a tomboy that's a girl, or maybe you have like a boy that's more effeminate, then the teacher should try to persuade, to try to encourage the child in coming out. They would never do the opposite though. Like they would never go for a kid that's trans. that they may think, well, actually, maybe the kid is cis, like maybe it's going through a phase. Like, they would never allow someone to go to a trans kid and try to encourage them to become cis, right? It was a one-way street, only the opposite way, like a cis child that wants to become trans. Like, that's what they would encourage. But, like, the interesting thing is that they would hide it from the parents, right? And I was thinking, like, is there any single other situation, like anything under the sun? Can you guys honestly think of any type of situation where a teacher would hide something from a parent? Any medical condition, like little lady. I couldn't come up with a single other instance. Couldn't come up with anything, that a teacher would be morally right to hide from something from a parent. But they were insisting that, no, like, this is morality, this is nice, this is the way, right? And you had parents that all of a sudden realized that their kid was encouraged to adopt a different lifestyle by their teachers. And like, obviously, what this does is it breaks the trust between parents and teachers. Because, like, at the end of the day, I keep explaining this. I don't know why people don't fucking listen. But the idea of allowing your kid to spend time with a stranger 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, is a big ask. Like, a lot of parents, right, they put a lot of trust into that teacher. Because, like, they accredit their own child to someone that's not a family member. And so if you see that the stranger is abusing that trust, it creates mistrust in the entire fucking system. Outside of public outrage, has any European nation made any attempts to reverse anti-free speech legislation in response to J.D. Vance's speech to them? I mean, it's kind of difficult. What can I say? When the United States had the Democrats in charge, right? Like, what efforts could you have made in order to bring back free speech on Twitter? Like, we don't have an Elon Musk that can just buy a platform. And protests in modern time are extremely difficult, right? Like, in the past, they were easier. But now, if you have, like, the trucker protest in Canada and they seize your bank accounts, like, what do you do? Right? They can track you anywhere. I mean, look at the Chinese. Like, the Chinese have perfected their way of cracking down on protests to the point where they don't even need to bring the water cannons and the dogs and anything like that. What they do is, like, they use social media, they find out who are the leaders of the protest, and they arrest them in the middle of the night. Like, they go to their homes, they arrest them, and that's it, they're gone. And so, like, the tactics on how to crack down on civil disobedience is well written, and not very effective. So, like, what people are trying to do is to vote for more right-wing parties. I guess, like, that's the only thing. Like, the AFD was surging. I'm curious to see what the new Romanian elections will look like. But, yeah, and unfortunately, you also gotta understand, Europe was not a free continent. Like, historically speaking, it's the continent of monarchies, it's the continent of empires, it's the continent that brought fascism, communism, and Nazism to the world. Like, Europe is more used to the idea of not having free speech. Right? Like, free speech is an American thing. And I think it's wonderful, I think it's amazing. But the reality is, like, most Europeans don't care about it. And they actually do justify the concept of safetyism. They do justify the concept of, we need to have the government protecting us from words, protecting us from stuff on the screen. And it is what it is, like, it's the culture of other people. It's not my culture. I do like what the Americans are doing. I do agree with the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, the Fourth Amendment. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I agree with, but I'm just one guy. That there are other people that agree with me, but at the end of the day, we're not the majority. And it is what it is. Correct. If you read further down, that's what the research is about. But you notice in the abstract, they hide it under guise of academic jargon. Yeah, that's pretty much what... See, I was always wondering, like, why do spells in video games and in stories, like, why do spells and incantations are said in Latin and they rhyme? Did you notice that, right? Like, if you watch a TV show like Supernatural, and they perform an exorcism on a demon. Like, why is the exorcism in Latin? Like, the writer of the story, the writer of the fictional thing, decided, okay, well, the spells are going to be in Latin. And the answer is because, well, it sounds smart, right? Like, you're speaking Latin, so it sounds smart. And on top of that, it looks more intelligent, right, than it actually is. And so it's the same thing with legislation and academic jargon. Like, the reason they add the academic jargon is to make it sound clever. It's to make it sound smart and to have like a gatekeeping. It's like, well, if you don't know Latin, you can't do the spell, right? So like you have to be more intelligent. You have to learn Latin. And it's the same thing with the academic jargon. It's like, well, you're not smart enough to get it. Like, you need to learn the jargon in order to... And that's their reasoning, basically. Most of the academic studies, they can be very simplified. Like, if you don't use the academic jargon and you just say what they want to say, you can write almost the entire thesis on 2, maybe 3 pages of paper. Like, if you get an academic course that most people have to spend tens of thousands of dollars to experience at a university, right? And you take that course and you ask ChatGPT to summarize it, like it will summarize it within a single paper, like an actual file. And it will tell you everything that's being said there without the academic jargon, like in a very simple way that anyone can understand. And usually you will see just how evil those people are. It reminds me of an academic paper written by a feminist professor. Which, you know, like, it's very interesting because they're very honest about what they're trying to accomplish. Like, they're very open about their tactics. They're not subversive when they're talking in the academic papers. And this professor basically says that the reason for feminism is to turn students into a virus. Like, that's what she's saying. She's saying that she believes she lives in a cisgender, heteronormative, patriarchal rape culture, which is the United States of America. And in order to destabilize the system, she needs to indoctrinate the students, turn them into a virus, so that when the students get into the cells of society, which are like various businesses, organizations, NGOs, then the students bring on their evolutionary mindset in there. And what does a virus do? A virus enters a healthy cell and then twists its original purpose into serving the virus, right? So like it goes into a liver cell, and now the liver cell, instead of doing what it's supposed to do and fulfill its role, now is just constantly replicating, just producing more of the virus, right? And that's pretty much what you get to see. You get to see students going to Gillette, which is a company that makes razors. And the students, like, they now hijack the marketing arm of the company in order to produce woke advertisement. So they're using, like, the resources, the money that should be going to improve the company, to improve the brand, to raise awareness on the brand. They're using that finance in order to spread the virus, to spread wokeness. And this is what the academics are saying, right? And they're covering it up in jargon. They're covering it up in smart speech in order to try and make themselves look intelligent. But in reality, if you ask ChatGPT to tell you what they're doing, like, yeah, they're very maliciously oriented. The average lifespan of an empire is 250 years. I mean, who fucking cares? By that time, I would be dead, right? And by the way, like, the fall of an empire isn't necessarily a good thing. Like, you can have the fall of the empire, and after that, you have a period of chaos. Not always the same, right? Like, when Napoleon died. Is Napoleon considered to have had an empire? I think he should, right? Like, he was an emperor. Like, after he died, it wasn't a period of turmoil. It was actually a period of stability compared to the French Revolution, right? America is a very young empire. I would say that America is the continuation of the British Empire. Like, I would say the same way you have the Roman Empire and then you have the Byzantine Empire that continued the Roman Empire. I would say that America is a de facto continuation of the British Empire. Anyway, speaking of empires and shit, there was another jab at the Americans regarding the French and the Statue of Liberty, right? So I don't know like who made the claim. I'll have to make a video about it because it's like this obsession with a fucking statue. My fucking god. They're treating the Statue of Liberty as if it's some fucking American creed, you know, like it's like the Moses and the commandments from God, you know. It's almost like one day God came up and he placed that fucking statue in America, and now Americans have to worship what's on the fucking tablet. And so I looked at the arguments on both sides, and I think like both of them are kind of dumb. So the first argument is that, well, hold on, like what is written on the Statue of Liberty? Let me read the thing. So what is written on the Statue of Liberty? So my assessment from all of this is that if you want to transform a nation state into just a plot of land where economic transactions happen, you start by giving them a statue. Like that's how you form a nation into a corporation, right? Like, but even in a corporation, actually, if you go there, you gotta work, and you're at least expected not to talk shit about the corporate brand, right? Like if you work at Microsoft, you're expected that you don't talk shit about Microsoft in public if you want to keep your job. Like you still have free speech, but like if you work for Microsoft and you go out in public and in front of the news cameras and you shit talk the CEO and you shit talk the product, right? Like you're gonna get fired. So even in corporations, you're expected to work and you're not expected to subvert the purpose of the company in public. But for some reason, like when it comes to nations, like no, with nations, it's just a plot of land that economic transactions happen. Like there's no culture. Even though like in America, it used to be the melting pot, right? Like you still have to fucking melt and then talk English and stuff. But anyway, right, so on the Statue of Liberty, it's written that give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shores, send these, the homeless, tempest tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Okay. So, first off, there's a problem that there's no cap on this demand. Like, there is no physical space in America for every single wretched of the world. I'm just saying, you know? But second thing, it's context, right? Like, the time, when was this statue given? When was this bitch received? 1887? Right. America didn't have welfare back then, if I remember correctly, right? Like, there was no welfare. There was no safety net. You go to America, it's a harsh place compared to Europe, and if you get a job as a dock worker, or let's say like something heavy falls down your foot and it crushes your foot, that's fucking it. There's no Medicare, there's no Medicaid, you know, like they're complaining about Obamacare. Yeah, there's no Obamacare, there's nothing. And they fire your ass. They're not going to keep you there, right? And so the people that went to America were genuine people that wanted a new start. And they were fleeing the persecution, right? Like, this is what the statue is saying. It's like, give me your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, right? Like, you have all these fascist ideologies in Europe. You have monarchies. You have dictatorships that are trying to control what the people say, what they think. You have religious persecution. And so, if you don't want that, you go to America. But you're going to America to fucking work. You're going to America not for handouts, you're going to America to work, and it's a very difficult and harsh life. That's what the statue was saying in that context. It's not like go to America to get welfare, or go to America in order to promote Hamas, right? On a student visa. No. Let's go to America in order to work hard. And integrate. Like, what is the Pledge of Allegiance? Like, why did they have to take a Pledge of Allegiance? Well, it's because you have people from Germany, you have people from France, you have people from Greece, you have people from all around Europe, and they're coming to America, and they're renouncing their old ways, and they're pledging allegiance to the fucking flag of America. Why? Because in Europe, those people started killing each other during World War I and World War II, while in America, they didn't. And you can't do that if you don't unify people under a national symbol, which is the United States flag. And I think Jefferson also brings it up. He says that anyone can be an American, right? So, like, Jefferson was pretty liberal for his time, very open-minded. He basically said that anyone can be an American. I'm paraphrasing, by the way. I think American Outlier knows what I'm talking about. Basically, like, everyone can be an American, but when you come into America, you speak English and you have the flag. You cannot be an American and a British. You cannot be an American and a German. You cannot be an American and a Romanian. Like, if you're in America, you're an American now. Period. Dot. The end. If you don't do that, then you're not an American, right? So that's the context. Now the counter argument that the Americans gave is like, well, you know, you French people, like, we bailed your ass. You would be speaking German if it wasn't for us. Which, you know, fair point, but the French, and again, I don't understand why people don't give these rebuttals anymore. Like, people are so fucking dumb that they take an insult and they just keep it. I'm a little bit annoyed. It's like, well, if I was part of the French PR government spokesperson or whatever the fuck they have, I would have a rebuttal for this. It's like, well, who helped fund the American independence? Like, if it wasn't for us, you guys wouldn't have managed to, you guys would still be speaking British, and you'd have 5 cops at your door because you tweeted something offensive on WhatsApp. Right? Like, don't fucking go there. We helped each other out. Like, our countries were friends throughout history. We helped you, then you helped us. And in the future, we may help you again. Or you may help us again, right? Do we keep maintaining the friendly relationship or not? If we don't maintain the friendly relationship, that's fine. We're going to go to China. We're going to go to Xi Jinping and be like, see, the Americans don't like us anymore. Do you like us instead? Ah. Gonna go to Canada. Canadians. Join the European Union. It's awesome. We will teach you how to send cops to parents that complain about their... well, actually, no. The European Union doesn't do that. Right. That's Britain. That's also interesting, though. Like, Trump was upset that Canada doesn't pay its fair share. And then Canada is like, well, okay, we're going to trade with the European Union. Ah, more tariffs, more tariffs. It's like, okay, all right. Fuck me. American Outlier. Jefferson believed in the right to migrate, but emphasized the importance of assimilation and civic engagement, believing that immigrants should adopt American principles and participate in the political process. See, American Outlier says that I passed. I do know my American fucking history. What can you say? What can you say? You know, like, if you study, you get rewards. Look, I'm very happy with my knowledge of American history. I think it far surpasses many Europeans. America didn't want to pay back the Revolutionary War debt to France. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I don't want to tell you this, but like, it may upset some of you. America rarely follows its international agreements. It's true, like, historically speaking. Well, it's not as bad as Russia, because, like, with Russia, it guarantees that it doesn't follow any agreements. Like with Russia, you can be certain. With America, that depends if you're a betting man. You know? What do I mean by this? Well, look at Ukraine. Like, Ukraine, after the fall of the Soviet Union, they had around 200, they had around, I think, like, dozens of nukes. Like 50, 60, they had a lot of nukes. Because most nukes in the Soviet Union were actually on Ukrainian soil. So now Ukraine wants independence, and the West is concerned. Like, America was concerned, because you don't know what will happen. Like, what if a madman manages to get power in Ukraine and now has one of the largest nuclear arsenals on Earth? Like, I think it was actually number 3 after the Soviet Union, right? So it was like the Soviet Union having the largest arsenal, then it was the United States, and then it was Ukraine. So, like, it was one of the most powerful nuclear powers on Earth. And you don't know what happens, right? Like, you can have a civil war there. Shit, like, maybe an Eastern European nation like Poland, maybe they get some ideas in the future, right? Like, it's not about, like, what happens now. It's like what will happen 50, 60 years down the line if we allow them to have so many nukes. And so you have the agreements between Russia and the United States saying that, well, okay, like, why do you guys want to have nukes? Well, we want to have nukes because we don't want to get invaded. And both the Russians and the Americans said, okay, no, listen, we will guarantee that you don't get invaded. Like, we will make guarantees that you will never get invaded, but you give the nukes away. Give the nukes to Russia, right? It's their fucking nukes. Give them back. And so they did that, right? Like, they gave the nukes away. It's not necessarily like out of compassion. They gave the nukes away because maintaining the nuclear weapons is expensive. I think it costs like several millions of dollars to recharge, to make sure that you bring the nukes up to date. Like, they need maintenance every 10 years or so, whatever. But they gave the nukes away, and now Russia is invading, right? Like, first they invade Crimea, and Russia gets like a slap in the wrist. They're like, tee no, we're not invaded. It's just like little green man. Don't worry about it. You know, it is what it is. It's just like the people that are revolting. And like, they got sanctions on paper, but no one did anything. And now they're invading properly, right? So Russia broke their agreement of guaranteeing the territorial integrity of Ukraine. And the United States also broke its agreement. Well, sorry, no, the United States actually did follow its agreement by trying to arm the Ukrainians, I suppose. Which, if they had nukes now, that wouldn't be a problem. Because, like, Russia wouldn't invade if they had, like, an arsenal of nukes. But whatever, you know, the idea is that now Trump is coming and he's saying, well, we will protect you, just give us your mineral resources. So in other words, like, yeah, we got a deal, but like, what else you got? You know, like, we got a deal, but like, what else do you have for us? And this is pretty much like how America does policy internationally, historically, right? Like, yeah, sure, we got a deal, we're going to help you out, but like, what else do you have? What else do you got for us? I mean, like, you know, it's like the international reputation. What can you say? But it's not as bad as the Russians. Because, like, again, the Russians are the ones that, like, at least America, from my take, like, they will follow the deal. But you gotta smooth things up a little bit with them. You gotta give them something more. You know, like, we have a signed contract, sure. But, like, now you're in a pickle. Now you're in a pitch. Like, what else do you have for them? What else do you got? It's like, it is what it is. Russia never agreed to a deal that denied them access to their Atlantic naval fleet. I'm pretty sure that they agreed to the territorial integrity of the US border at the time. The only difference is that the current Russian leadership wasn't the same Russian leadership back then. And the negotiations that happened then are considered to be inadequate for the people that are in charge now. And to be fair, again, if Ukraine kept the nukes, well, I guarantee to you that today, Russia wouldn't have access to the North Atlantic naval fleet. No one would invade a country with nukes. Like, no one is insane, right? Like, normally nations do not use nukes unless, like, well, if you're going to take the capital anyway, well, go fuck yourself. Let them fly, you know? When France was going through its revolution and did reach out to the United States for help, but there is an argument that Washington made that to paraphrase, look, France, we would like to help, but we're trying to socially repopulate and economically restock our country. Yeah, pretty much. Again, the only thing that's true, though, like, if you look at America as a corporation, not as a nation state, right? Because, like, the idea is that nation states aren't companies, right? Like, they're more like, I mean, when they used to be operated by royal families, they had honor, they had, like, some level of prestige, like, they tried to maintain some sort of decorum. But when you look at America, you're looking at that more like a company, like a corporation, right? And if they invest in your country, like, if they start a NATO base in your country, if they put money to invest, like, for instance, what Trump is doing. Like, Trump actually understands the American mindset. And in Trump's mind is like, okay, well, if we get people to mine resources from Ukraine, then we can justify to the MAGA movement why we have to defend our national interests, right? Like he understands his people. Because, like, at the end of the day, what Trump does is, like, the money he gets from the resources from Ukraine don't go into his pockets, right? What he does is, like, how do I justify to my voters why we should actually defend Ukraine? And the way to justify them is like, well, if they have like an investment, if they have like an economic strategic advantage by being in Ukraine, then the Americans will justify it. Because again, it operates like a corporation, right? Like, what is the company's interest in that area? So that's pretty much what he's doing. Other nations don't operate like that. And so this is why you have like the international bewilderment, like the conflict that's happening. The last time people actually upheld the agreement, we got World War II. No, the last time people upheld agreements, it was World War One actually. Like the assassination of the Archduke Ferdinand. Like World War II was actually a war of ideology. It was a lot easier to motivate the soldier in World War II to fight. It's like, okay, we're fighting against communism. We're fighting against Nazism. We're fighting for freedom. Like that's an ideology. Like it's easy to motivate the soldier of why he should charge the trenches, right? In World War One, why are we fighting? Well, we're fighting because like back then our king had an alliance with that king, and that king had another alliance with another king, and that king got attacked. And so like we need to go now in order to right? Like it's very difficult. So like literally World War One is when everyone kept their agreements. Like they literally got pulled into war because they had like mutual defense agreements with other nations, even though it wasn't in their interest to go to war. Like they knew like, okay, well, we're not gaining anything from this war, but because we have a pact of agreement, we got it. Wrong. Russia has always been scared of nukes. Man, everyone is fucking scared of nukes. I don't know like when people originally decided that actually nukes aren't bad. No, nukes are horrible. Like, they're the most atrocious weapon that mankind has ever created. This is why the Cold War happened. Without nukes, you would have had actual war. This is why the Soviet Union didn't invade the West during the Cold War. And they backed down during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Yeah, they're afraid of nukes, just like America is afraid of nukes. Like, mutual assured destruction is a thing. The problem with nukes isn't just like, oh, the damage that it does, because like you can achieve the same level of damage with conventional weaponry. You can do carpet bombing, you can do like just like regular bombing, like or the father of all bombs that's non-nuclear, right? Like that, there's a lot of ways that you can achieve the same result as a nuke. So like, why are nukes so scary? Well, they're scary because like of the EMP. I mean, imagine if electricity goes out in LA. Just imagine for a second, right? Like, no one dies, just electricity goes out. Credit cards don't work. All of your electronics don't work. Cars don't work. Logistics don't work. People starve. Crime is rampant. There's no lights. Your phone just doesn't have any more battery. You can't call for help. You can't call 911. People don't have landline phones anymore. And even those required electricity. Your car doesn't work. The public transport doesn't fucking work. Like that's just like the EMP itself, right? Like we're not talking about the actual blast or the actual radiation. Because when you talk about the actual radiation, well, now it's poisoning the earth for 100 years. Right? Like you can send nukes that just poison the earth, that salt the earth, like the cobalt missiles. Like that, nothing grows there anymore. And so no country wants to deal with that shit. No one wants to be like, oh, well, they can't deliver the news. They don't have a delivery. No one wants to fuck around and find out. No one wants that. And by the way, I don't even know the new technology. Like, what happens if you try to create drones that do it? I don't fucking know. Like, can a scientist come up with a principle where you have like 6 drones that collide in midair and creates that? I don't fucking know if it can be done. But do you want to find out? Like, do you really want to try? You can just have, like, at this point, you can even have a guy with it in a suitcase. Right? Like no country wants to risk that. And so, this is why I believe that if Ukraine had nukes, it wouldn't have gotten invaded. That could actually be an interesting plot for an action movie, right? Like someone uses drones as a way to deliver it. Yeah, to be fair, nukes are the most peaceful weapon ever made. I really hated movies when I grew up, like Superman, and Superman was getting rid of the nukes. And I was like, well, what are you doing, Superman? Now you just brought conventional warfare back, you know? Like, there have been times in human history where there were no nukes, and that doesn't stop people from just having the conventional military do the fighting. Could make a James Bond movie. Oh, wait, they killed him? Ah, I see. I haven't even watched the latest James Bond movie. Like, I heard it's cringe. But, like, can you even make a modern James Bond movie? Because, like, James Bond only works in a time when most people aren't aware about other countries on Earth, right? Like, back then you didn't have internet. And so the only way you learned about other places is through traveling books, traveling guides, and encyclopedias. Or if you travel yourself. But when I was growing up, you know, like, India was a mystical place filled with wisdom. The land of yoga. You know, like, spiritual achievement. Japan, also like a mystical place filled with wise people that do kung fu and shit. So like you can have the idea of a tropical island where you have Doctor Doom perfecting the Doom laser. You can have that, and it doesn't look cheesy because again, like most people don't understand the world, right? But if you do it today, well, that tropical island, it has a Starbucks. That ancient temple, it also has a Starbucks. Right, like you can see it from Google. You can go in Google and you can see every ancient temple and every jungle that Indiana Jones visits, and there's no more mystery. There's no more mystique. There's nothing. And so what I think is that the only way you could possibly do this, like the only way you could possibly have like a Indiana Jones movie or a James Bond movie, would be to make it sci-fi in space. And you're making it in a fictional world like Star Wars. And you have like, you know, for the Republic, a spy, which plays the role of James Bond. And, you know, he goes to an exotic planet. And that would make sense. Like, that would actually look more believable than to make whatever James Bond is making, which would look cringe anyway. Or you can go on full-on satire and, you know, have James Bond against the World Economic Forum. Like, uncovering a Klaus Schwab plot from the World Economic Forum, which is to eliminate cash and make all the transactions digital so that he can control everybody. He would be able to control the banks, he would be able to control the governments, and he's very close with achieving that goal, and James Bond needs to go in there and expose him. Like that would also work, you know? James Bond in Davos. I'm not kidding. Like, that would actually make a movie that people would watch. And they used to make movies like that back in the day, right? Like, they used to have movies that actually had political messages. James Bond would be the villain in that case. Probably. Yeah, probably they would make him the villain. Anyway, right, it's getting close to midnight, so I need to go. Oh, shit, it is actually midnight. I forgot the daylight change. Oh, God. Anyway, thank you for watching. Appreciate your guys' viewership. And I'll see you tomorrow. And on my other